In this video, we're going to be showcasing a simple feature that we added to EasyStone, but one that I think you'll probably find quite useful, and that is the vertical text function. Now, there's nothing really that special about the vertical text function, but having a built-in proprietary function is easier than doing it with CorelDRAW itself. And let me show you, if you don't have a macro, how you would go about doing vertical text in CorelDRAW. So we're just going to type out a word here, the word eagles. And there's a couple of different options that we would have. I'm going to make a copy of this. Now, one option, and this is the goofy option that Corel gives us, is if we draw a path. So you draw a line, a vertical line. You right-click on your text and hover over the path. And we do fit text to path. And then once we have that, then we can apply the vertical part of it using one of the CorelDRAW presets. And then of course we can just delete the path, and there we have our vertical text. Now I did tell you that was a bit goofy. Now another option would be to simply take our text and add a return after every letter, and then we could set the justification of the text to center justified, and that too would give us vertical text. So a couple of different options in CorelDRAW to do that. And so while that's not that technically that complicated to do, obviously anything that we can do to help simplify a process is definitely a welcomed addition. And that's why we have these different macros and tools to simplify the process. So where are you going to find vertical text here in EasyStone version 3.1? We'll open up our font manager here, and we'll go to our text effects tab. Now we have a few different options available to you. One option is to take existing vertical text like you have here, and if we click on vertical text, then all it's going to do is just make it horizontal. Okay, so that's not that big a deal. If we click on it again, it'll make it vertical for us. If we want to change the spacing between these letters, we can just click on the text spacing tool and then click on that little icon there to change the spacing between letters vertically. This would change letters horizontally, but of course with vertical text you don't have any left to right spacing. Okay, so that's how that works. Now we can also enter in a value without choosing a font from the font list above, and when we do that, we'll just click a point. Whatever our default font is for that particular document we're working on and the font size, that's what is going to be created for us. So for example, if I change my font, let me just go to my text tool here, and I'm just browsing through and I say, well, you know, I like this font right here. You can choose that font. You'll get this dialog box. We'll make sure artistic is checked. And so now when we type in eagles and hit vertical text, now you can see we do get our vertical text, but obviously it's a different font style than what we had worked with previously. And then finally, there's another option where if you know the particular font that you want to work with, which we typically work with fonts, our favorite fonts all the time. If we just type that in, here it is right here. So this is a collegiate font that I like to use all the time, and I type in the word eagles and choose vertical text. Then of course we would get our collegiate font with our vertical text in that example. So that is how the vertical text tool works. Now we don't want to get too confused with all these buttons and gadgets and gizmos here at the bottom, because all of this relates to Easy Envelope. It doesn't relate to vertical text or any of the other functions. Easy Place, yes, Easy Place does involve the rotate options, but that is the only other function that involves all these. Otherwise, rotate applies to Easy Place, Easy Envelope applies to all of these other functions. And we'll talk about those options in a different video, but I just wanted to show you how that vertical text tool will work. And like I said, while it's not that complicated to accomplish here in CorelDRAW, yeah, it's a welcomed addition because it just, it just makes it a little bit easier when you have the need to create vertical text along with pant leg or sleeve, something of that nature, where we need vertical text. Thanks for watching.